You're listening to Between the Wickets. Welcome to part 3 of a special edition of Between the Wickets. In this 3-part episode, we're diving deep into the world of U19 cricket with 3 talented players who represented the USA in the ICC U19 World Cup. In this episode, I'll be sitting down with Pranav, Sid, and Arya for 3 one-on-one conversations. To finish off this episode, I'll be talking to our third guest, Arya. Arya, congratulations on representing the country in the U19 World Cup. Why don't you start by talking a little bit about your experiences throughout the whole process of being a part of the USA Under-19 team?
To start, it was a great experience. First playing in Canada. When we played, it showed the high quality and the standards that we had to compete with. So yeah, overall, it just showed us a glimpse of what cricket is outside of the U.S. and what we need to do in the U.S. to get better.
So for the World Cup, I know you guys had 4 or 5 games. How was the lead up to the tournament? How was the preparation you did with the team?
With the U.S., our structure is not as great as most countries. So we didn't really do much in preparation other than have a camp in Houston where we had multiple other players join us. And after that, we had one tour in Trinidad where we were playing West Indies and Trinity U19. But because of the rain, we didn't really get to do much. But it was good to be with the team outside of the World Cup and outside of Canada and just to get to know each other better. So I feel like that really helped us gel as a unit.
So personally for you, obviously you're like a leading fast bowler of the team. Was there a way that you prepared personally to be able to execute in the World Cup?
Leading up to the World Cup, I knew that I'm not going to be as good as every bowler there. So I felt like I had to focus on just making sure I've been hitting my line and length targets, so a lot of spot bowling, a lot of drills. And I had to be able to use some kind of variations. So I was just working on that, trying to create new variations.
So obviously the World Cup is a big stage to, play on. How was the mood of the team? How did the team feel as a group about the World Cup in general?
Yeah, when we saw the first groups, we saw Bangladesh and India, and we were just like, those are some big team names, right? But we were just all just really excited to be playing in the World Cup because, we haven't qualified in a while. So, we just used that excitement and we just went in with a clear mind against these teams because the worst thing that could happen is that we could lose. So we just knew that we had to do our best and perform.
So for you, was there a way that you prepared mentally in a way to take off some of that pressure? Or was it more just focusing, I'm confident in my line and lengths, I'll be good for the games?
When I play cricket, I always have the confidence in myself to go out there and perform. So what I realized is that when you take in that stress and pressure, it's just going to mess with you and you're not going to perform the way you want to perform. So I've learned over the years of me playing that when I'm playing, I just got to do the best I can. And there's no stress or pressure for me in that.
Was there any key things that you picked up from teams like India when you guys played them? Obviously bowling to their batsmen, their world-class batsmen, and even watching maybe their fielding and their batting. Was there anything you picked up from those bigger teams that, you might want to try to bring back to our teams back here?
The main difference between teams like India and Bangladesh and us is just how much of that kind of level of cricket they've been playing. And with that, they've learned things like temperament, being able to pick up the field, gaps and stuff like that, and not getting stuck on the crease. So I feel that was a big problem for us, and that's something that we can take away from those kind of teams and try to incorporate. But I feel like that will only come with more games and more playing against high-level quality.
Do you have any other interesting maybe experiences or something that you noticed throughout the whole World Cup journey that you thought was interesting? It can be maybe about another team, how they went about something, or just anything in general. Was there any experience that you found really interesting?
I feel like for us, not being in that kind of setup before, just everything that led up to the World Cup, like pictures, photo shoots, and these kind of interviews that we've done with ICC and all that kind of stuff was just really cool to us. And it showed how big cricket is. And it was just an amazing experience for that.
So I know between games you guys had some rest periods. What did you guys do during that time? Did you have practice sessions? Was there any fitness or anything like that? Or was it kind of on and off rest and all of that?
So when we went to South Africa, we went, I think, a week or 2 early. So during that 2 weeks, what we did, we had training mostly every day, mixed in with some games against some college teams there. Rest, we had maybe a little bit, but most of the time it was just practice. But these kind of practices were a little light. We didn't really do much other than that. It was just mostly practice and just trying to like understand the other teams. So a lot of video sessions with that.
Do you guys practice on like the pitches beforehand?
So in the World Cup, you can't practice. We couldn't practice on the pitches of the game,
Yeah.
but they had practice pitches outside. So we either practiced on that most of the days, or we went to a college that they had there, like next to the setup, and we practiced there.
So obviously playing in the World Cup as a pace bowler, you bowl to a lot of the top order batsmen of India and Bangladesh and Ireland, like other international teams. How does that differ from, opening the bowling here in New Jersey? And how did you adapt to this change?
I think the main difference in bowling to these kind of countries and adult leagues here is that you got to be spot on every single ball, and you got to minimize the bad balls because they have the ability to put them away. Especially on the fields that we play on in New Jersey compared to South Africa, the grass here is so much longer. So even if you do bowl a bad ball, sometimes you can get lucky and it won't go for a boundary because of the grass. So especially playing on those kind of grounds and then playing against that kind of competition, you just got to make sure you're spot on with your line and lengths.
So I know you're a fast bowler who, over time has built up your pace. Did that change of pace like kind of suddenly come, or was it more of like an overtime thing? And was there anything you did to kind of improve your pace throughout the years?
I think what happened for me was that one year I just grew like randomly, and because of that, like I had the pace. But the issue was that I didn't know how to be able to bowl that pace and still like maintain my strength and stuff. So I was just getting injured a lot. So what I had to do was, especially after gaining that kind of pace, I had to make sure I did strength work and other stuff to make sure I don't get hurt. I didn't really do much to get my pace, but to be able to maintain that pace and still like keep playing, I have to make sure like to start lifting more, eating better, and a lot of that stuff.
So in general, when you're bowling the death, are you more focused on maybe like nailing that Yorker, or do you like to bowl maybe more variations? Like, what's your game plan in the death overs?
And the death overs for me, it's not about taking wickets; it's about containing runs. The issue with trying to bowl Yorkers all the time is that sometimes you're gonna miss it, bowl full toss, bowl slot ball, and it'll go. So for me, it's a lot more variations because with that, it's you're gonna get the dot balls and then you're gonna get wickets as well. So over time, I've learned to start bowling the knuckleball, back of the hand, and the cutters. And that kind of stuff has really taken my bowling to the next level.
So I know on top of cricket, you're also a very good runner and like one of the best in New Jersey. So how does that directly like kind of correlate with cricket? How did that help you in cricket?
Track and field, I mean, like that kind of stuff, it's really helped me stamina. I'm able to bowl consecutive overs, be able to run around, and like overall, that kind of speed really helps. And like explosiveness really helps in the cricket field because you always need to be on your toes and always got to be aware of what's happening. So, I mean, that kind of stuff, it really helped me, especially in the 3 years that I've been doing it. I've seen like a lot of growth, not only on the track, but also in cricket.
Then obviously you're doing track and field, you're playing cricket, and then you also have school because I know the biggest part of your cricket career so far is throughout high school. So how did you manage cricket in school? Was that an issue for you, or did you have to do anything to kind of adapt to it, or was it kind of natural and you didn't really have that much trouble with it?
So for my school, they had like a real big issue with my attendance because we missed a month because of it. But like they're really understanding and stuff. So what happened for me is that I had to drop out of school. They ended my marking period early and they started it late to accommodate for the month that I missed. But other than that, nothing much really happened.
Obviously, you played in the U19 World Cup representing USA on a big stage. And then a couple months later, we had the actual men's T20 World Cup here in the US, along with Major League, which has been happening for the last 2 years in the US. What do you think all these, like Major League and the World Cup happening here in the US, what do you think that brings to cricket in America? And how do you think that's going to grow the sport over time?
I think what we've been seeing from the World Cup and Major League is a lot more fans coming out and a lot more support in the US. And that kind of thing will only make USA's brand grow, especially with USA now qualifying for 2026. It puts us at a real good like stepping stone, and it really gives us as players hope for that there's a future in cricket in USA. The only thing that these kind of things can do is help like cricket in US and just build that.
What do you think Major League like specifically kind of brings? Like maybe if you're a player who's playing Major League, even though you're not getting many games, what do you think that kind of adds and like brings to help that specific player kind of grow?
So with Major League, there's a lot good international players like Faf du Plessis, Dwayne Bravo, Kieran Pollard who've been playing for such a long time. So just being in that kind of setup really gives you inside information on what they know and like all their experiences playing cricket, and that kind of information just help us as players grow and do better in the future.
So I know like Major League is obviously a T20 league. On top of that, USA Cricket also does play some little ODI series here and there. So for you as a fast bowler, how does your preparation kind of vary between kind of preparing for like a T20, such as Major League, or like maybe even 50 overs, like such as the games here in New Jersey, and then also eventually hopefully playing for USA?
So the difference for me in switching between T20 and ODI is mostly just what kind of lengths and what kind of lines you're bowling. So in ODIs, I'm more prepared and like focused on trying to build my swing and pitching the ball up, trying to find those wickets early. And in T20, it's mostly just being able to have those variations and just hitting that one length. So with me, it's just dependent on what kind of game you're playing. You got to know, you got to be smarter, especially in T20s and that kind of thing.
Throughout your whole U19 journey, you've played on like a lot of different pitches, a lot of different grounds. How do you think about adapting to the pitch as a fast bowler? Like, what are you kind of looking for in a pitch? And based on that, where are you trying to bring your lengths to? Like, if it's a slower pitch, where are you trying to bowl versus maybe it's a bit more flatter, where, like, what's your plan for bowling?
In on slower pitches, which is like a lot of these Madden wickets in New Jersey, my goal is mostly to get that ball at a length where it's not too full, but it's not like a little bit up of a good length. Because on the slower wickets, what will happen is that the ball will come and stick a bit. That kind of things can get you wickets. So as a fast bowler, you got to know the pitch early, and once you do that, you just got to figure out what line and length to bowl and what to hit. So like in South Africa with the flatter wickets and those a little quicker wickets, you just have to hit top of top of off length. It's just about learning quick.
Moving towards the end of our episode, just wanted to ask, what's your view on USA Cricket right now, and how do you think USA Cricket is going to evolve in the future? I know we talked about it a little, but with the Olympics coming up and all of that, how do you think USA Cricket can really grow from where it is right now?
With a lot of these things coming up, like the T20 World Cup that just happened, major leagues, and then LA 28. I mean, the only thing that USA can do is go up from here with the proper structure, support, and infrastructure that they're trying to create in the US. I feel like a lot of the young players, especially in the US, have like something to look forward to in the future.
Finally, having played, the Under 19 World Cup, having played a lot of big games over the last year, what's your advice for, younger kids who are dreaming to play Under 19 World Cup and further, and even kids who are preparing right now for this next cycle? What's your advice to them?
I think that the main thing is that you have to have confidence in yourself and your abilities and be able to, every single time, even if you're under pressure, be able to put out a performance and handle that pressure and be able to just play your game.
Thank you so much, Arya, for your time, and best wishes for the future in your cricket career.
Thank you.